If this is your first time on the channel and you learned anything about collectibles or anatomy in any of the videos on this channel, then you need to like and subscribe right now. Like and subscribe. Okay, it's right there. Just go ahead and do it. Okay. We're going to be talking about facial anatomy on this one. This one's from Vamara. And we're going to give you some facial anatomy tips. Okay. So get ready. Get ready. Here we go. Alright. So first thing that sticks out to me is that if he was to take a breath, it would hit here and not go anywhere, right? You'd have to really take a deep breath to get that going, okay? So we need to move this forward, okay? So when we do that, the neck seems too thick because it is. So we need to move that forward as well. Straight across from the nose is generally going to be where the end of the skull is, okay? Your skull is wide too far in the back. It needs to be wide. Safest place you can do it over and over again is right above the ears, okay? So if your ears are in the back third, that's not generally where they need to be, okay? So the next problem with this is that how square it is, okay? We don't want to mix the mastoid process, which is right here, with the back of the skull, because those one leads into the other, but they're both not the same, okay? So I want to end it and round it off in the back, okay? Zygomatic is looking good. It's where it needs to be. And now that we pulled this out, it's a little bit too sharp. So what we need to do is also bring this sternocleido forward, right? Because yours was originally going down and then forward. We need to just come forward with it. Okay. We need a pit of a neck here. And then we're going to bring this over and we're going to eat away on the back of this so we can maintain a tubular row-like form here. Okay. We're going to pad the back of this with the parotid gland. Okay. And let's see. Okay, so we have this coming towards the head of the sternum, right? It's called the sternocleidomastoid, not clavicular sternomastoid. Okay, sternocleidomastoid, not clavicular cleidomastoid. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. That's what I meant to say, okay? So halfway down the sternocleido, we're just going to connect this right here, okay? Depending on how stressed the individual is, we'll see more or less of this. Okay, generally it's just going to go from one into the other. All right, so we've got that. Let's fill this in. We want to hint at our thyroid and, was it cricoid? I think it is cartilage here. Alrighty. Okay. So next, you want to be careful that your nostrils and your septal cartilage don't line up, because your septal cartilage is always going to be in front. Okay. All right, your nose, you need to put in your alar cartilage here. So the back of the nostril, it's going to come from there. It's going to come together, and then it's going to go back up into the nose. Okay, so we can smooth that septal cartilage out. We're going to get the standard brush. We're going to dig in. And redynamesh. Okay, so next thing we need to do is do the outside. So it's going to come this way, and we're going to give it a little bit of a shelf here. So it's going to come around. It's not going to go around, right? It's going to come to the shelf, go around, and back up into the nose. Okay. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Smooth out that septal cartilage. And then now you can come in here and pretty much make it any alar cartilage that you want. Okay. So if it's too aggressive for you, you can smooth it out. And you need a little bit more here. Okay. Keep this on the back foot and smooth that out. Okay. Cargo cold is the ear hole right in the center on the side of the head, side of the hair, square or more back. It varies, but you can be safe most of the time by putting the ear in the center of the head. Like this one possibly can go a little bit further back, right there. Okay. And possibly your head's a little bit too tall. Okay. So, next. Let's see. Okay. So first thing, let's talk about the glabella here. Let's bring this up a little bit. Let's give it a little bit more room so we have the glabella here. We can furrow the brow, but let's be very careful about bringing it too close together. Okay, you want to have some space for the glabella. You want the nasal bone right there. You want the maxilla right here. So this should go down into the maxilla. So you need a little bit flatter here. Right, there should be a good amount of distance between the nasal aperture and your maxilla here. Okay. All right, you want to bring your orbit back in, and let's see, we want to widen it right at the nasal aperture and then bring it back together. Okay, we want to dive down here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Alrighty. Bring that together. It's looking good. Possibly a little bit too much. Okay. Alrighty, so that's what I would do with the face, the body. I'm gonna bring these pecs together a little bit more, and bring it down, something like that. And generally, you want these to go back up, right? Because the rib cage does this. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So the back, your trap is way too sharp here. So whenever we're sculpting the traps, first we got to get the shoulder correct. So yours is a little bit too far forward. I'd like to see it come back a little bit more. Right here. Have the head right there. Okay. So the placement of the anterior deltoid, or the front delt, for all you laymen's, okay, should be right there. And what you want to do from now on is you want to get your traps from the base of your skull here. You want to bring it, and you want to bring it in line with your deltoid, right? So you want it to kind of flow into it, but we don't want to actually sculpt over the clavicle. Okay, so that's the trajectory of it. So it's going here and then it's stopping at the clavicle. Okay, so you need your chromium process you need your spine of the scapula. And so now you know that it's going to connect all along your clavicle, all along your acromion process, all along the spine of the scapula. Okay? So that's where you need to start connecting your traps from now on. Okay? So your clavicle is just going straight back. What you want to do, you want to go to the neck right about there, come straight out, and then you want to curve that back and then get in there. Okay, reason being is that the clavicle needs to be straight out around the neck so that we don't pass out. Okay, because if it was straight back like you had it, it would cut off all the veins in our throat and we would die. Okay, is that what you want us to do? Huh? You want us to die from lack of blood circulation? Vamara? Huh? All right. So we have the spine of the scapula, blade of the scapula. I want to see that more straight next time. And remember, whenever we're doing the, whenever we're sculpting the scapula in the back, we want to start off with it flat. Okay, if it's Mr. Olympia that you're sculpting, then you'll add some infraspinaeus and supraspinaeus in here, but most of us don't have that type of muscle definition. Okay, and Darth Maul is not it's not like a bodybuilder, right? And also yours are going obliquely away from the body. They need to be pretty much straight up and down. Okay, so they need to be pretty much flat, but not totally flat. And so now that we have this, now we can sculpt our rear deltoid over that. Okay, and then we're going to have that aponeurosis right here. Okay, so you can always tell where the corner of the scapula is because you're going to see this little hook right here. Okay, your traps right here. All right, so at the end of the scapula, we want to get the serratus muscles, okay? So those are going to be right there. We also want this to follow the rib cage, right? So I see a lot of people putting a very hard edge on this and then going back, okay? We want this to follow the rib cage. Boom, 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 boom. So we've got that. And we want this, generally your spine is skin and bone. So we want to be very careful that the traps don't overtake that. And you can see how the traps are basically the highest point of the back here, and we definitely don't want that. So we've got the spear of aponeurosis here. Okay, we've got the columns right there. This one's going to go pretty much to this head. At least this is the way that I like to sculpt it. Okay, so we have the traps going down to the last thoracic vertebra. But by the time it's here, it's a very, very small tendon, so we don't want to add too much meat, okay? Most of the meat is going to be up here, if anywhere. And then it's going to get smaller and smaller just due to it coming together and becoming a tendon, okay? So next is our upper lumbars, which are a little bit too high on yours. At least it's going in the right direction. It's just the volume is too much too soon. So we want to come from the base of the skull, come down right here, and we want to go to the last floating ribs. Okay. Two good things about knowing where the last floating ribs are. One, you can get your upper lumbar right here. And also, you can get the curvature of your obliques from there as well. Okay, so you know it's going to come from here, and you want to make sure that they go back up. Okay, and then that's going to expose the anterior superior iliac spine. And then you have the spina erectus muscles here. Okay, then you have the lat coming over and inserting right here. So, yeah, that's what I would do for this. And there's plenty of other things, you know, that we could do. We can work on the arms and all that stuff, but yeah. So let's see what's next. What's next?